enormously vulnerable to sympathy or sympathizing and receiving sympathy if you feel like you're not getting that in places that you should. And so, regardless of who it is, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a guy. If you are satisfying an emotional need with a relationship outside of your marriage that is unhealthy, regardless of who it is, then you're falling for the same thing. Let me take a trip down the obscure too. This model works for whatever your sin is. I'm not saying smoking is a sin, but if you think it's a sin, you better stop. Because if you think it's a sin, and then that means you think it's wrong in God's eyes, and you keep doing it, you're sinning every time. Again, I'm not convinced it's a sin. If you think it is, you better stop. So whatever it is, and what I've noticed about smokers is it's an outlet for stress. I know people that only smoke in rush hour traffic. Okay? You need to drive at different times. I know people that only smoke when they see their long lost Uncle Lewis on their third side. Don't visit him anymore, or at least don't take the cigarettes with you when you do whatever it is. Identify it. Drinking the same way. If you have a problem, has your drinking become sinful? Quit going to the bar. Don't go over to places where whenever they watch the game, they're going to tote out the beer. Don't go places where it's going to be impossible for you to resist. Anger. Are you easily angered? Now, if you have teenagers, I sympathize. And you can't not go home. Okay? That would be a temptation sometimes. But begin to look into the circumstances. What is it that causes you to come completely uncuffed and unleash yourself on your kids? Learn what those triggers are. Learn the lure that the devil is just tempting you with to go full force and have anger that ought not to be there. Here's a big one for the ladies. Gossip. Gossip, gossip, gossip. Don't buy into it. Don't allow yourself to go into it. And if you're finding yourself in whatever it is, are there particular people or particular settings where it's very hard to resist, then learn to monitor those things. You must discover the setting, the surroundings, and the specifics that form the circumstances in which your sin occurs. I'll say that again. Discover the setting, the surroundings, and the specifics that form the circumstances of you falling to sin. You begin to control that. You begin to take an initiative, then God is going to work wonders. The last thing to share with you, and this goes back to, if you bear with me as I go all the way back to the Psalm of David. What's the first thing in David's relationship that he talks about in this psalm? Delight yourself also in the Lord. He shall give you the desires of your heart. Pam Stenzel spoke on this, and she spoke on it bluntly as she addressed a group of, it had to be near 1,000 teenagers. And she went this way, and the teenagers were hooting and hollering when it came to it. But she said, sex is great! It's incredible! It's wonderful! And the kids were hooting and hollering, and she said, guess what? God invented it! God, He brought it. It was God's idea. And you cannot engage in something that God gave you in a way that is better and more fulfilling than under the context with which He gave it. There is nothing in this life that you will enjoy more outside of God's will than what you can enjoy inside of God's will. And regardless of what pleasure we get, whatever momentary pleasure we get from the indulgences that we allow ourselves to have in falling away from God, if we would just decide to be like David, I'm going to decide to restrain myself from whatever the devil offers and trust whatever God has in store, it's going to be 100 times better. You better believe it. God always